So what is Wealth Match? Tools and advice that can help you maximize your wealth. She's getting paid for what she knows and not what she does.
To work less and play more.
To maximize the wealth for my clients.
Your retirement plan.
It's Uncle Money time.
I mean, it's money season anyway. This is the time where everybody's interested in when they go get their money.
Right.
Are people having a problem with the government shutdown deal and receiving their funds at a certain time or something like that?
Yeah, I heard a lot of people and people you didn't even think that it affects. So think about a beautician, right? Mm-hmm. So if your employees are your clients, or government employees, that can hit you just as hard as anybody else is not receiving a check yourself. Even people who thinking they ain't gonna receive a check, that'll hold you back. So times like a government shutdown really shows you, hey, I need to get my house in order.
I honestly can't say that I didn't even think beyond, like I thought out of the box, but I didn't think far enough out of the box to the beautician, to the grocery store clerk, to the mom and pop shop, the hair salon, to everybody who has that one service or that they provide, the service industry, the Uber drivers, everybody who provides some type of small service is someone that we don't think about. I didn't even think about them getting a check because most people splurge when they have money and they do the nails and the hair and the haircuts and all that other good stuff when they got a good check coming in.
And people don't realize when you off of work, people say, oh, you're not working, you're on vacation. But it's stressful. You ever been kind of like uneasy about when you're going to go back into work? You can't really just relax. And that could resolve into two ways. You don't spend it all or you splurge go on vacation. So balancing that probably hurt a lot of people. I think we're going to see the effects probably in a couple of weeks or so.
I think, and I want you to chime in on it. Do you think that moments like this is going to produce people to become more entrepreneur-minded and stop being, being saved by corporate, so to speak? It's going to kind of push people to say, you know what? Because I'll be honest with you, the only people that's not really complaining are entrepreneurs.
That's true.
Like all entrepreneurs I know,
would you say this is a good time to really start developing those business plans and getting out there?
So I think it's always a good time to be an entrepreneur, and I'm a little biased, but you got to understand that this whole system is set up for you to be better off as an entrepreneur. As you guys know, y'all can write off every bit of this equipment and time and mileage that you spend here. But if you're just a regular W-2 employee, you can't write off any expenses. You really have the highest tax rate. So just from the tax system, you're better off being an entrepreneur. But I think this day and age, with kind of that whole direct-to-consumer market, you can really be who you want to and reach out to who you want. Y'all heard the Soulja Boy's interview. He's right. You have the option if you really want to get out there and hustle. So I think this is a good time to really just show who you are. I heard somebody say, hey, man, have your little freak flag fly, be who you are, and you can monetize that.
Get a freak flag fly. But okay, so I have a question about, so I was reading an article about Amazon and how they made $11.3 billion and they don't have to pay taxes. Right. Is that like a real thing?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
How does one get away with making $11.3 billion and no taxes?
And not be a 501c3?
Yeah, so there's something called subsidies. So Amazon does a lot more than just deliver packages to your house. They do little kind of, seed grants and as you know, the Amazon HQ, they got a lot of subsidies from state and local government. So they play this game so that when they make a profit, they never have to pay. Now, you could say, well, that's a good thing because they've done these things that other people weren't willing to do. But $11 billion, you do need to pay something back into the society, right? So is it a good thing? I don't know. But it just shows that, they playing one game while we playing one game, paying 20% tax rate. Okay, we just got to make a decision. Are you going to get taken? Are you going to just learn the rules so you can win?
Man, I'm going to tell you what happens with me. I get upset with my parents.
Okay.
Because I be like, man, why did like, what were y'all doing before I released myself into this, this world being a young individual on an independent level? Like, what were y'all doing?
Right. What frustrates me when parents, send their kids off to college and say they're going to go find themselves there. But what happened those first 18 years when you prepare that child to go off into the real world? They're adults, okay? They can be tried as adult. They have to pay taxes like adult as soon as they turn 18. So why aren't we preparing them before that? On top of that is that whole student loan epidemic. So we're paying $30,000 for somebody to find themselves.
Right.
Okay. You know, why can't they go on a hike?
That was well put.
Why can't we do this? So let's really rethink about that, because you know, we have trillions of dollars of student loan debt. 11% of that is in default. So people aren't living life. When you talk about what's holding back people from being an entrepreneur, if you got $50,000 of student loan debt, and that's pretty low nowadays, you're not going to make that leap because you have to pay that bill on a month in and month out basis.
You feel like you want to be.
Self-care is important. I used to be a person just working, and make sure the kids doing their things and everything, but it was really breaking me personally. And so I was getting to the point where I couldn't push forward anymore. So I had to step back and say, you know, it may cost money that I don't necessarily feel that I have, but more money will come, more money won't. And so I definitely. That
was well put. I'm glad you put that.
So people don't know that the number one reason people file bankruptcy is not poor money management. It's not making bad bets. It's healthcare. Healthcare will take you over the edge quicker than anything. So when you say, hey, I'm focusing on my mental health, I'm focusing on my self-care, that's probably the best investment you can make. Ain't no point in having millions of dollars when you know. Exactly. And time management, that goes back to your point. That should be reared up as a child. Getting up in the morning, knocking some things out, you know, taking care of some things in the evening, self-care, that's not being taught at all. Like that's missed.
That totally completely out the window.
Like you learn more about self-care from YouTube than you do from your paternal or, you know, maternal people in your family. And that's the problem because it's not prescribed to how you are actually built. And that's what's actually missed, I feel like. And it causes real money issues. Like life and money, they kind of intertwine to that point that when you ain't healthy, you ain't being innovative enough to think about those ideas to bring that money in your pocket.
Right, I definitely do.
I agree with you, man.
I agree with you there. Like a lot of people don't realize, so I work as a financial advisor and I help people grow money or whatever. But what I really do is sit down with them and say, hey, how you doing? Are you eating right? Are you sleeping right? Are you loving the people you need to be loved? And because, you know, the way you spend money is the passageway to your soul. I can tell when you went down on your tithe to church. I can tell when you aren't giving to your family members as much as you used to. I can tell when you eating out, going to places that don't feed your health, but it just kind of feed you to entertain you. So really having those conversations, people don't realize those conversations are what win people over. I can't show you a nice equation. It's really me loving on you, to saying, hey, I care and I want to see you do better. That moves the needle. It ain't none of that number stuff, all the other stuff. It really is that soft, squishy, hey man, I love you and I want you to win. That's what moves it.
That right there. When you feel love and
definitely write your notes down anyway.
All right. So when I got called on the show, it was a couple topics y'all wanted me to cover. And I think the best one was what is kind of some of the best ways to save money. Folks like, you know, every time something happens, I got to go dip into my bank account. So I thought about a list of things that we can do to help us save. And these are not just things I just thought up. These are things that I found that my clients actually succeed with. So let's just go ahead and go down the list. So the first one is move your money to an account that you cannot access. So we got so many different credit unions and they're not as, you know, high tech as maybe like a Bank of America or something. But those accounts, you can kind of funnel money, direct deposit from your account. And you actually have to go into the bank during bank hours to pull that money out. So that's one of the ways I noticed people have been able to save. Just not having access and forgetting about it is the best way.
A little debit card where you can just kind of go to the ATM and pull it out right quick.
So pretty much just have a savings account. Just get your savings with nothing extra on it. Just
savings that you cannot access.
So no Bank of America, SunTrust, all that stuff. You need what? Specifically credit union?
Yeah, specifically maybe a credit union that can go to and just direct deposit from your check.
Some old school grandma banks.
Old school grandma banks.
Isn't that what a CD is?
A CD is a certificate of deposit. All the banks have those. But a CD is usually something that you've already accumulated, maybe about $1,000 or $2,000. Okay. Then you put your money into a CD. Okay. But there's charges if you try to pull that money out. So just make sure you don't need that money.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's number two is automatic 401k deductions. Now, this is for all those kind of W-2 employees, right? Those who employer has a 401k plan. When I say that people have accidentally accumulated millions of dollars just by somebody telling them to start investing in your 401k and increasing that amount every single year. So if you increase your 401k contribution 2% every year, and once you get up to that 25%, that's how you can become that millionaire next door. So one of the ways you can save is through your automatic payroll deductions into your 401k. Now, the two things for these previous two that I mentioned is it happens automatically. You don't think about it. And when you get a raise, it automatically adjusts for you. Okay. So most people will not be able to save. I love people, but most people are just not good with money. 76% of people live paycheck to paycheck. So if that be the case, you have to have some type of systematic way to save for you. Okay.
Okay. I got a question with that. So there's a lot of people out there who don't necessarily understand the format of the 401k in the sense of, say you're a person who kind of moves from job to job to job to job, and they don't understand does the 401k move with you, or do you just lose it because you quit that job, in that sense, or how to track it to see, you know, what's actually going in and how much you have in there and things like that. What can you explain to those that are trying to figure out the 401k or don't even realize the importance of it altogether?
Yeah. So let's back up and explain what is a 401k. So a 401k by tax law is called a defined contribution plan, which means that you contribute to that plan. Okay. Sometimes your employer will what's called a match. Okay. And that matching portion has something called vesting, which is a time of period you have to work for your employer for that match to become valid and that you can own it and take it away. So when you leave your job, what you do is called a 401k rollover. And you can roll that over to one of the lower discount firms, whether it be a Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard. And that way you can actually keep that money. Now, when you invest in a 401k, your plan is obligated to give you investment options. Okay. Investment options, it could be a stock fund, a bond fund, all those different things. And those funds that you invest in, that's how your money grows. It's a term called compound interest. So over time, like I said, if you automatically doing it, that money's going to grow.
Okay. So if you went from one job, say you didn't know it, so you just found out today, you know how they have the memes out there, and say, how old were you when you learned that this was used for blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know about the rollover and you left the job and you had 401k, and you know, I mean, most of the time it's when you first started kind of small.
Yeah.
But, you know, you still might have wanted that $1,500, $200.
Yeah.
Can you retrieve that back? Or is it like, oh, you're bad, you should have known better, do better next time?
Yeah, the rules change. If you leave your job and I think it's under $500, I think the employer is actually obligated to cut you a check, in which they will actually charge you ordinary income tax on this. But let's say you have over that $1,000 amount and you just, for some reason, you receive a statement. Yes, you can take that and go to one of those discount brokerage firms that I mentioned, and you can roll that over and invest it the exact same way as you would with your employer 401k. And it'll probably have more and better investment options if you roll it over.
All right. Did you get your notes on there?
Oh, yeah. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes for sure.
Now, way number 3, like I said, and I mentioned earlier, money is a relationship thing. The problem with people is they try to handle their money issues by themselves. Okay. So one of the ways to help you save money is to get your friend to save for you. Now, this has got to be somebody you trust. This can't be that cousin, right? This has somebody you can say, hey, either you can give them that money or they can be your accountability partner and watch that account for you. So the third way is just have somebody to help you out. That could be your mom too.
So pretty much you're saying everybody need to get in a relationship.
Everybody, yeah.
Or a good friendship.
You know?
Where if you got, you know, somebody that
brother, I don't know.
I
but
mean,
I'm saying you gotta get, if you get in a relationship, you gotta get in a relationship with somebody who's on that same accord. Because you could get a girl and she just want to spend your money. Oh, I noticed that you were saving. I need to get on that. You know, like you gotta get the right relationship.
There you go. That's true.
So your accountability partner needs to be. So if you're getting in a relationship, you need to get in a partnership. Forget a relationship.